Now, skinny guys. Guys that, here's one pool of guys that I was a part of that really, really annoys me. When people say, I don't want to get too big, I just want to be toned, right? And people say, I just want to build muscle tone. Muscle tone isn't real. Hello boys, welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to be talking about in order to burn fat you need to build muscle. Now I realized this when I started bulking a few years ago, and when I put on all that extra muscle and then I decided to cut, the cut took like two fucking weeks. I swear to God, I was looking in the mirror, I was like, I'm not far off where I want to be. That was so easy. And I asked Steve, who comes on the podcast often and is featured in many of the fitness videos. You've probably seen him. Steve Walker, massive guy, great shape. He bulked. He got up to about 108 kilograms. His aim was to cut down to like 95 to 100, in between that, wherever he looked good. He didn't have an exact figure. He just wanted to look good. I said to him, how's it going? He was like, it's the easiest thing I've ever done. He's like, I go for one run and I lose like a percentage of body fat. He was like, I swear to God, it's that fucking easy. And that's what happens when you have a mass amount of muscle. It burns body fat naturally throughout the day. Now you do a minimal amount of cardio, or you just do a standard heavy bench or a standard heavy squat or something. The amount of muscle that you have is burning so much fat. Okay, and this is something that two types of groups of guys always forget about. Now, one I've spoken about before, which is the fat guys, and I have no shame in saying fat guys. I think is a good thing. Told you guys that before. Any guy who's overweight has a giant advantage over skinny guys. They've already done the bulk work. They can lift heavy because they've got the extra weight and the ballast, okay? It makes it easy. They're the only people who can technically not, but technically have a calorie deficit whilst adding muscle to their body. Because they're so large, they can afford to lose calories each day whilst lifting weights and kind of bring it all together. It's kind of like a pincer move where the muscle comes in and the fat loss and they meet in the middle, and you end up being like 200 pounds of lean muscle by the end of it. Those guys are set perfectly for this, okay? They need, because here's the thing, okay? So many larger guys will be told by society, hey, you're large, get on the treadmill. This is your year. Focus and dedicate. Yeah, I don't know what that's going to do. I mean, think logically, okay? You've got a guy who was just normal shape, normal guy, normal body. There's no ifs or buts about it. If you're an overweight guy, you got there because you didn't exercise, okay? So your skeleton and your muscles are going to be normal size. It's just how it is. You gain a ton of fat, okay? You bulk up. It's like putting a coat on. It's like just wearing a coat over the top of your current layer. When you go on the treadmill or you do cardio and you strip that fat off, so you take that coat off and you put it on the floor, you're not going to have massive muscles. Like if I put a coat on right now for 10 minutes and then took it off and went, huh? Why am I not 400 kilograms of muscle? Why don't I look like the Hulk? Like it just wouldn't make sense, okay? You're taking that jacketed layer of fat off, and what remains underneath is what always was. Your skinny bones, your skinny muscles, because you've never worked them. That's how you got fat. You had a calorie surplus from not exercising and eating too many calories, okay? Now, that's why guys who do a dirty bulk end up getting fucking enormous, because they're doing both. They're adding fat and muscle all at once. They're just, they're just looking enormous, okay? That's why it's such a quick way to just get big. Now, if you're a big, heavy guy, you've got a ton of fat on you. If you start lifting heavy weights, what will happen is your muscles and your bones will naturally become more dense. They will grow in order to suit that extra padded jacket that you've got on. And then the more muscle you have, the more fat you'll burn. So you'll find that process effortless. If you just jump on the treadmill, you're going to be skinny fat. Okay? It's a no-brainer. It's one of my pet hates. It annoys the hell out of me. Society tells guys, get on the treadmill. Just stop, okay? If you're a bigger guy, lift heavy weights, have a structured routine, okay? Go through strongman lifts, hypertrophy, do some endurance weightlifting training with a little bit of sprints, cardio, stuff like that, boxing, just to drop that extra fat at the end, then repeat the cycle. Go through each one for around about 3 months, okay? Strongman lifts, hypertrophy 3 months, endurance training for 3 months. And I don't mean endurance like doing marathons. I mean like 15 to 20 reps, okay? Bang, 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 just that repetitive lighter weight. You've got different muscle groups in here. Okay, that's what it's going to help. Now, skinny guys. Guys that, here's one pool of guys that I was a part of that really, really annoys me. When people say, I don't want to get too big, I just want to be toned, right? And people say, I just want to build muscle tone. Muscle tone isn't real. It isn't real. How can you have muscle tone? It's a myth, okay? Muscles either grow or they shrink. They grow or they shrink. You cannot tone a muscle. Toning a muscle is what I always refer to when it comes to body language. Everyone gives me shit about the Ragnar Lothbrok video. Like, you're in love with this guy. You keep saying, oh, how big he is. I'm talking about his muscle tone, which is his posture. By building these larger muscles, they stay in place, okay? George Bush was famous for this. He used to walk around like this, and he didn't have muscle tone, but he pretended to. Okay, and this is why I always tell guys to build bigger biceps. Because when you sit with bigger biceps, you can see there. Look at that frame. You've got big lats under here. Okay, they'll keep you structured. Look, you can see that. Okay, that's the natural kind of structure. And that will hold you wide like that. If you have everything that's kind of floppy and whatever, it doesn't look right. Okay, that is what tone is. Tone will just have your natural body sat where it is. And a lot of guys think that, I'm going to do a lot of reps on a lighter weight. I'm going to build muscle tone and I'm going to get shredded. Doesn't quite work like that. Any goal that you're going for in terms of fitness, okay? Even if you are a marathon runner and you're just looking to be very lean, shredded, you can massively benefit from strongman lifts or hypertrophy lifts in off-season or pre-season for 3 months and then 3 months, okay? Strongman lifts on a marathon runner's legs and then getting back to their normal training will bump their time up massively. Oh yeah, but I'll be too heavy, I won't be able to move. That's not the point here. Okay, because it's not permanent. The point is to build up that muscle strength. The point is to challenge the muscles to do something different. And so many skinny guys will say, I don't want to get too big. Well, if you want that, what's his name? Nick Bateman type of body, you can go and search him, okay? Nick Bateman, real handsome guy, great abs, very lean looking guy, okay? If you want that type of body, you might have to get bigger than that to begin with. Nick was probably bulking at some point and got bigger than that and then slightly cut down. You almost have to overextend in order to cut back. It's very hard to just go and do that straight, gradual incline, okay? Because in order to get a little bit bigger up to that point where you look toned, you have to put on a little bit of body fat. So any guy that's like, I'm just lifting light weights, I just want to tone, your body will pretty much look the same. Okay, you'll build some muscle naturally. Naturally, you'll get hypertrophy because you're working the muscle. Okay, you're not sitting still doing nothing. But it's not going to be like muscle tone because tone doesn't exist. The muscles will just slightly grow, which will give the appearance of extra tone, as that's what people call it. Basically it's just more definition. Okay, but an easy way to do that, like a cheat code to doing that, is just go and do 5x5 strongman lifts, powerlifting. Get your compounds out, get yourself a lot bigger, then do some hypertrophy, and then focus on the endurance lifts and do the 15-15 whatever with a little bit extra cardio, but eat correctly, have a small calorie deficit, and you'll drop that extra body fat, and then you'll be that lean guy. But guys always saying, I just want that young male model look, I just want to be a little bit slimmer, I want a six-pack, I just want to look lean and athletic. Yet in order to get to that stage, you probably are going to have to go beyond to cut back. There's a footballer called Leon Goretzka, okay? 100% on steroids, right? But he's changed his training, okay? So he was very skinny before. He played football all his life, 90 minutes, sprinting around. If anybody should be toned, it's this super athlete. Gets on steroids, starts lifting heavy weights. Now people say, oh, he's massive. He's not massive, okay? He's massive for a footballer. He's not massive. He looks what people would define as toned. If you have a search, Leon Goretzka, Bayern Munich footballer, his body transformation, he looks toned. That is definition. That is good posture, okay? He's not massive. Like I've seen guys, he's probably only like 82, 83 kilograms. The guy's not huge, okay? And he's tall as well. He's like 6'1". So he's not massive. Anybody who does bodybuilding knows. But because he's lifted weights, he's toned all his body up. It's improved his definition, his posture, etc. So it's made him look better. Then when he gets back on the football field and he started sprinting around again, running around, and that body fat slightly dripped off, where he had larger muscles, it made his body look more toned, more defined. And he had that lean, athletic, 6-pack, 8-pack look. And that's the way to do it. But so many guys don't understand that the more muscle you have, the easier it is to burn fat. If you look at Eddie Hall, okay, he's training to box Thor at the moment. The two strongmen, okay? He has an 8-pack. Now, granted, all those guys are on steroids, right? It's insane if you think they're not. Like, pretty much everybody is. But he's got an 8-pack. He's like a strongman. He's like this. He's ginormous, but he's got an 8-pack because he's got so much muscle mass. If he does 20 minutes of cardio, the amount of muscle that he has to move around is he's dripping fat. And then he's dripping fat throughout the day. He's just constantly burning it, okay? If he has a small calorie deficit, he'll have an 8-pack like that. It's very easy. A lot of those strong men could look unbelievable. They could look like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in about a year. They could do that easy. They could look like The Rock at his peak, you know, quite simply. But they've chosen to add that extra ballast so that they can lift heavier weights. But anybody who used to be like a power lifter or a strongman lifter, or that's how I kind of began, is I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to lift the heaviest shit I can find, do 2-3 reps. Everyone in the gym is going to be like, he's wasting his time, what's he doing? That's not a workout. It pays off in the long run because now you can lift really heavy shit. You've got an extra massive muscle on your body. So when you want to look a little bit leaner, it's very easy to do. And so many people forget that the more muscle you have, the more fat that you're going to burn, just naturally throughout the day. And getting on the treadmill and just, you know, thinking if I just keep running for 3 hours, I'm going to drip all this fat. It's not going to work, guys. It's one of the deadest ideas you can ever do, but so many guys are dedicated to it. Now, later in the week, I'm going to show you some of these. I've got an earpiece now. I can just, a mic that I can just put on here, plug it into my phone. I can just do some recordings while I'm training. But I will guide you through a lot of these training regimes as well. And I'll show you the amount of reps that you have to do and different body types. You know, I was a skinny guy myself, but I also understand the larger guys and how their bodies work. So I'm going to guide you through what you need to do in order to get to the shape that you want to be in. And we'll go through all of that. But as always, guys, appreciate you watching. I'll speak to you all soon.